Welcome everyone. Welcome back to King County Law Library's How-To series for video recordings working with the court. Today's returning expert is Gina Saucier, who is with the King County Superior Court Clerk's Office. And today Gina is going to be talking about some important points about how to work well with the King County Superior Court Clerk. Welcome back, Gina.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So let's assume that I've got some documents that I need to get to the clerk. How do I do that?
All right, well, that is one of the most common things to take place in the clerk's office is getting documents to the court to become part of the official court record. For many folks, it can come in one of the three main ways that documents are submitted to the clerk's office. So I would say most common ways to come into the courthouse in person. We've been open throughout the pandemic, so coming in person to one of our locations, either the downtown courthouse, the Mailing Regional Justice Center in downtown Kent, or the Children and Family Justice Center up on Capitol Hill. Any of those situations, you can bring in your original document. Just need to make sure that it has pieces of information that allow us to put it into the proper court file. So what we call the caption, think of the who versus who, case number, and those can be dropped off at any of our courthouse locations for filing. We always recommend in those situations, though, that either make a copy ahead of time for yourself or get a copy while you're at the clerk's office, just because we keep and retain the original copy. So it's going to be something that's sort of a one-way event, and making sure that copies are part of the physical online drop-off is a very, very important part there. The other way is through King County's e-filing application through the clerk's office. So this is if you want to upload your documents into the court file. You'll still need your case number so that we know where to put that case document, but it can be uploaded in a PDF, just like you would upload, a photo to social media or upload a document to an email. There's just a selection where you choose the file that you would like to upload and add it to your documents. The other way to get documents to the clerk's office is to mail it in. So our website has the addresses for the respective courthouse locations, and it's that same information, just making sure you have, the who versus who, the case number, and then mailing in the original documents will also have it retained in the court file.
Thanks, Gina. Okay, so the second question is, I've gotten my documents to the court clerk now. How do I get those same documents to the judge?
That's a great question. What most people learn as they navigate the court system is turning in the original document for the official court file is a separate task than getting documents to the judges. Think of the clerk's office original as the repository for all courts across the superior court jurisdiction. But what that does is just retain the document as the official copy. Copies still need to get to the judicial officers or judges who are going to be hearing the matters before them. So once you've taken the first step, which is to file the document into a case, you'll want to get a copy of that document to the judge one of two main ways. Every courthouse location has something called a judge's mailroom, where you can drop off a physical copy of what you filed into the court file. This is why we always recommend making copies at the time of filing. So you can usually just do the step back to back, where you file, you're still in the building if you'd like to, and then go straight to the judge's mailroom to get that copy. Just important to have information like when your hearing is, make sure all of your documents are secured together, just because it goes into a Dropbox, and have the ability to say, what the nature of the hearing is going to be. So, say Judge Justice, court date October 1st, 2022, and then, motion for revision kind of thing. The other way to get copies to the judge is through our electronic working copies service through the clerk's office. So this is also connected to the e-filing application. So let's say you've e-filed a document into your court case, you have the option to select electronic working copies, also known as e-working copies. You'll basically choose which documents you would like to get forwarded to the judge, and it is a fee service because it is optional to do it through this, where they deliver, prepare, and arrange your documents for you to get transmitted to the judge. They have a very strict turnaround time, so it's a guarantee that they will make it to the judge in the format that they need to be in prior to a hearing.
So we've gotten our documents to the clerk, and we've gotten the same documents to the judge. How can I see the documents that I filed?
That is also a very good question. Most of the time, when you file the document in person, it will take about a day or so to get that digital image uploaded into the public viewers. However, once that task has been completed, you can go into any courthouse location and view the documents free of charge. We have a series of public portal computers set up. So all you have to do is go to one of those public portals, type in your case number, just like you're typing in a phone number, and it'll pull up the documents that are part of your case. You'll be able to view them. Some people like to take pictures for reminders of when a calendar date's coming up. It'll also be able to show you the history of what other people have filed into the case. So you really get the whole picture of what's part of your case file, and especially getting a heads up for those things like next court dates is a really good chance to look through and become familiar with your own court file. The other way to view documents is through our public portal request. So for a lot of folks, this comes in the form of ordering a copy of the documents. Again, viewing it inside one of the courthouse locations is always going to be free of charge, but if you would like copies sent to you, you'll be able to go to our website for the clerk's office, and you can choose the public portal request to order copies. Those copies can be mailed either to a home address, or they can be electronically delivered through an email address provided at the time that you create your account.
Okay, great. And it's my understanding that the clerk's office offers periodic training for the Scripps portal. Is that correct?
Absolutely. There is a webinar that takes place on a regular basis for how to interact with the court services applications. This includes how to navigate the records request portal. That's for both audio and court records. So for most things, if a hearing take place, it is going to have the clerk minute, the clerk documents, the filed digital copies of what's been filed, but you can also use that same application to order a audio recording of hearings that might have taken place at Superior Court as well. So they've really merged those two services together so that you can do a one-stop shop. The webinars that are put on go through the different elements of the public portal request. There's also a Q&A portion of it where you can ask specific questions that are possibly going to pertain more to your situation. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that. It's a really informative way to be able to become confident in our filing system.
Okay, so we've figured out how to get documents to the clerk and to the judge, and we figured out how we can actually see the documents that we've submitted in a couple of different ways. What if I need to submit something that's like a video or an audio recording that's not a piece of paper? How do I get that?
Sure. So if it is something that's part of a trial, for example, exhibits for trials tend to be in the form of either an in-person trial or a virtual trial. Virtual trials have become popular during the pandemic, specifically as a way to keep public safety and public health recommendations in line. So if you've been designated to do a virtual trial, you will be using a system we use called ShareFile. That will be the uploading of your exhibits, including things like videos, audio, certain sort of text, Excel sheets, documents. You would use that system to upload exhibits for trial purposes. If it's an in-person trial, you would be able to use a physical mechanism like a USB or the ability to sort of play it on something that is a tangible item that the clerk can take into their possession. But for the most part, virtual trials tend to be more in the civil and domestic arena, so family law cases. So a lot of those using ShareFile is a quick and easy way to get those uploaded and before the court.
Great, thanks, Gina. So now I need to schedule a hearing so the judge and the commissioner can see all the material that I've submitted for my case. How do I do that?
In terms of getting a hearing in front of the court, the first thing you would want to do is research whatever rules apply to the type of hearing that you need to put before the court. Once you determine how to do that and what rules apply to how you schedule that, you can bring in whatever documents might have been used to select your date, to select what court you're in front of, and those can be filed with the clerk's office. We can't tell you what date to choose, why, or if it's the right thing for your type of hearing, but you can bring a document. For example, one of the popular ones is called a note for motion. If that's something that applies to your case, you would be able to bring a copy of that in and either e-file it or take it to the clerk's office in person to file.
So I'm not particularly comfortable with technology, but I know I need to get information to the court. Is it true that for the ways we've talked about so far, we can get everything physically to the court? Or is
Yes.
it sometimes sometimes I need technology and sometimes I need to walk it in?
There's always going to be a physical version of anything you do in the clerk's office. So anytime that you need to do something in person, the courthouse office locations have been open throughout this entire experience. Well, that's a very nuanced way of referring to the pandemic, but you're absolutely welcome to come into any of the courthouse locations and do things physically. Certain things, it's just down to user preference, what their comfort level is. At each stage, there's assistance available for if you're going through in person versus if you're going through the electronic services. We have customer service folks available to help you get through each of those aspects, regardless of what type of comfort level you have in terms of digital versus physical. So regardless of comfort level with technology, and we'll always support folks that might be using this as a way to get comfortable with technology. The services are going to be the same regardless of medium.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Gina. This has been really helpful. I hope it helps our listeners out there who need to work with the court, make it more effective for them to work correctly with the clerk's office to move their litigation forward. Thanks
I hope
again.
it will be a huge help. I am excited to see some folks get something good out of this.